Hello, we are live. Welcome to Midwife Monday with both of us today.
Two midwives.
It's a special appearance by Margo.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So, welcome everybody. We would love to know who's here and where you're from and whatever else you want to share just in the chat box while we get settled and pull a card of some kind. Maybe you can be the card puller today with your very own cards.
My own card deck. What are we pulling a card about?
I don't know. You could decide that.
What do you usually do? Just look for a theme?
I usually say like just what is needed today.
What is needed today?
You can do whatever. Hello, Ricky, Jill. Welcome. Maida, Danielle, all of our favorite people. Man, the hair.
Yeah, it's great. Okay.
Krista. Yeah, so welcome. I think most of you so far are regulars here, so you know the drill. But Margo is here, obviously. She's pulled a card for us very promptly here.
Was I supposed to take longer?
I haven't hawed too much about it.
Evan liked our horse video.
I have not stopped laughing for, what was that, like 36 hours ago? Oh my gosh. Yeah, if you find anything like that, I want to see it. I want to see it on the internet. That was so funny. And for some reason, just like encapsulated this whole trip somehow.
It's been a goofy time.
Yeah. So
Cups. I love that card.
I've never pulled this one.
Really?
Can I show it again?
Yeah.
No, you can't. So yeah, maybe you'll all into it. I don't know what this one is. Isabel, hello.
They're on a rainbow, and the cups are a rainbow of colors. And it's like a couple, and their kids are playing.
Cool.
It's just like all groovy.
Cups are water. Yeah. And 10. I don't know. That's my number for the last year.
Is it?
1 or 10.
Interesting.
10 reducing to 1. Yes, it's been my lucky number.
She also has a great braid. We were talking about hairdos, and she's got a really good hairdo.
That looks like something Tallulah would do. Yes, Jill, you should watch the horse video. If you need to laugh, watch it right now. Or maybe not right now, but watch it soon. It's 45 seconds, and it is continued fun.
It's really good.
Yeah, so what do you think that's about?
I want to think about it first. I know what it means to me.
Yeah, I want to hear what it means to you. It's your deck after all.
Well, I think it's one of when I went through the deck at first and picked out favorites. It was definitely in my little pile of favorites. I feel like it's just like earlier on like a rainbow hammock, maybe in Ecuador.
Yeah, Margo's on the couple days countdown to international adventure. So
my first.
That's so cool.
Ricky said that she loves the 10 of Cups.
It's
sort of like a completion card, right? 10 is like you're at the end.
Emotional chaos.
End of the emotional chaos.
The rainbow appears. At the end.
That's right. It's been a wild time. I don't know. Did you do last Monday? You did. I was somewhere else. I was upstairs.
Yes, I did do last Monday. So I said, I don't know if I'll still be in Minnesota or I'll be home. And here I am. Here we are.
Still in Minnesota.
Still in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Well.
Do you want me to read this?
Yeah. Or sum it up or whatever.
Sure. This card has the powerful energy of connected hearts, giant love, and devoted acceptance. Often seen as the one big happy family card. That also is cute.
Aww.
Since we've combined parts of our families the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a giant yes for relationships and love, and it predicts your fairy tale ending. And hey, you get to decide what this soulmates and unicorns ending looks like. That's fun. What else? Yeah, bring gratitude and generosity to your life every day. Focus on others and gift them your energy through time, kindness, and service.
Oh.
One big happy family. And you get to see your big happy family tomorrow.
Right. I know. That is a big happy family. But this has been a good big happy family too.
Totally.
Just I thought about that this morning, like how easy it's been. I mean, I'm sure it's had its moments. Having people in your house is not easy. I do recognize this.
I feel like it's been really easy.
It's felt easy. Kids have been great, having so much fun. The weather's been great. We've like just been able to hang out, and something we haven't been able to do after births for obvious reasons. I mean, after I've had a baby, after you've had a baby, that's what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get to hang out at those times, so.
Right. Kind of some other stuff going on usually.
Yeah, lots of resting. It's nice not being in that phase.
Oh, it's so nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. There might be other interpretations out there for you all. Or maybe that was for you, or maybe I really feel like it's a travel card for you, but I don't know. Maybe it's just one of many. We're both traveling, I guess.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm just going home though. Nowhere, I mean, it is fun, but nowhere exotic like you're going, so.
Mm-hmm. What else should we talk about?
No, this is always the awkward part where I just wait for people to comment if they have a topic or a question. We don't get Margo here very much, and we're rarely together, so I feel like people should ask questions if they have them, or suggest a topic for us both to talk about. Other than that, yeah, I usually just awkwardly hang out.
I'm not afraid of awkwardly waiting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mostly do my whole life.
Do a lot of that lately. Watching horse videos while we pass the time. So there's no awkwardness here.
Mm-mm.
And it's quiet. I'll take the quiet.
My ear wants to hear about breech birth.
Oh man, what do we say?
I don't even know where to start.
Seeing a midwife for annual checkups. We've got a couple of fun topics here. Breech birth, favorite herbs, or helping with sleep.
Sleep.
I don't know which of those. And also, I'm kind of putting Margo on the spot since I feel like there's such good topics and observations around having just gotten to go to a birth together. Even though it wasn't quite what we expected, it was amazing and beautiful. And we haven't done that, I don't know, a couple of years, I guess, probably.
Yeah, when was the last time we got to go to a birth together? Year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, year and a half. Yeah, I guess roomies doesn't really count, so.
And we hadn't gotten to go to one in Minnesota together.
Yeah.
In a long time. We have been to Minnesota.
That's right.
Together, which is funny.
To Minnesota
we went to 2, I think.
Yeah, that was like 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
Yeah, I feel like we're contemplating all of the in-person events we want to offer in the next year, right?
Now that Marin lives closer, and my little guy probably won't scream himself to death in the car. Like a 2-day car trip is way more doable than a 4-day was. Yeah. So I think that it will be much more doable for us to be doing in-person stuff together too, which is fun. Mm-hmm. Exciting to think about. And I think we also are talking a lot about like that kind of stuff. Not necessarily like directly birth related, but how we can work in just more like women's empowerment and healing,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even having another project based around all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, so stay tuned, Brooke. And if you have more specific suggestions or ideas, you can always email us. We're open to that. Otherwise, I mean, I have an in-person workshop coming up this Saturday, actually, in Kentucky, which I think a lot of people will come to. But then next year, I'm hosting a Vedic meditation workshop, which is not birth related, but will be open to anybody that wants to come and do that and learn. It'll be like a 3 or 4 day thing in January. That's also in January. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's already on the calendar, and it looks like we'll probably do something in March of 2022 with maybe some other practitioners and birth people, like I don't know what to call it at this point. It's pretty open.
A birth workshop.
A birth workshop.
Skills workshop or something. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe that's not quite the word. But.
So that'll be probably March. But yeah, the calendar is really open. And like Margo said, I think we're really wanting to start focusing even more on just, women's power, not necessarily birth, but getting women together for all the good reasons. The witchery class has been a really great example of like how that has come together, even though that's been virtual. So I think that's what I'm thinking, kind of like a in-person witchery type thing.
Yeah, that would be really fun. Yeah, and I guess, we went to a birth together, and then I have like cleared my birth schedule. I don't have anybody due till April, so I'm really excited to see what comes of that and what that makes space for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love in-person stuff.
Right. Other ideas, I know we've talked about like a doula or more beginning birth worker, potentially retreat or get together. So I guess we do need to figure that out at some point. So there's not like all of these things planned since you don't actually live there.
Right.
Oh, thank you, Krista. That's so nice. Yeah, it's been nice for me too. And I think that's a good place to build some of this new stuff on. So yeah, stay tuned. We try and let people know as best we can. But if you're on our newsletter list, that's always great. And we'll see. We'll see how it shapes up. Lots of great questions today. Lots of cool topics. There is a podcast on jaundice. So I think in the interest of time page, you might find that to be the most helpful because I at least would pretty much say the same thing I said, but you're welcome to interject however.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those topics that just is like very tricky or something.
Yeah.
Well,
cut and dry, tricky. Yeah, well, maybe we have to talk about jaundice now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like one of those things where it's like, it's almost always fine. And if it's not, then yeah, it'd be bad. But I've never seen it be not fine.
Yeah, that's funny that we said opposing things, but I think it is both of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the medical world wants to make it more complicated, but in a normal, healthy mom and baby, it's like confusing. I think I've given this analogy, but it's like confusing a cold with the flu or something to me.
Right.
Because jaundice is pretty normal and boring, actually. And rarely is it dangerous. Yeah, so check that out.
Check it out.
Yeah, Jill, we'd love to hear more ideas. And as far as Canada goes, Jill is there, Jasmine's there. I don't think travel is possible, right? Between Canada. Am I imagining this?
I don't know.
With the whole you-know-what thing that people like us are never going to do?
Right.
So
I'm not sure.
I don't know either. I feel like it was a thing, but I'm not totally up. You guys would know.
No, I've never been to a birth in Canada. But I am close to Canada. I've attended a birth close to Canada. In Minnesota.
I attended a women's retreat in Canada. Right. I didn't think so, Jill. Thanks for the confirmation. Yeah, so I won't be coming to Canada anytime soon, and I suppose, sadly, I won't be meeting you all anytime soon. But we can work our magic on all of that and hold the vision for one day being able to get together. Yeah.
It's so nice here. We can't leave.
That's oh man.
You're trapped. Ah! Is there something else up here?
Yeah, Krista, you too, I guess. I know we have such a nice group of amazing women in Canada that feel like, we're all part of the same community. So it doesn't make any sense. But again, just holding the vision that it won't always be that way. I don't understand why it is, but I'm sure there's a good reason somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary.
What about I guess we were talking a little bit about apprenticeship stuff, unless that's something you already talked a lot about here. And just roles at births, since it was cool, we got to go to a birth, which maybe we're not going to tell the whole story of, but I got to be there as, the primary midwife. There's a cat in my yard.
A black cat, nonetheless. That is a
so
very
weird.
witchy cat.
I have never seen a cat in my yard.
Knew we were sitting here.
That's weird. And then I got to have Maren there as my second.
Or whatever I was. I just was like a fly on the wall. It was fun being a fly on the wall. I'll take that.
It was great.
I'll be on a fly on the wall anywhere.
But you were a second midwife in the room. I mean,
if
you had been needed to.
If push had come to shove, I guess. Yeah, maybe.
And then Maria was there, who's my apprentice, who's been to about 20 births, I think. I'm sorry, Maria, if that's wrong and you watch this. I apologize if I got that wrong. But I think about 20. So it was cool, to be at a birth. Because we didn't really ever do that many where, I, was the primary.
No, it was so fun.
So, we kind of got to, pretend we were back there.
Yeah, it was really cool. Fun.
So I don't know what else to say about that, other than it was cool to have just 3 different places in midwifery. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You were the grandma midwife, actually.
Well,
the lineup.
Yes, I get it.
And then me, and then someone learning. So it's cool, 3 different levels of experience, I guess. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh.
In the same room.
Yeah, it was so fun. I loved being there, and I loved just, like I said, being a fly on the wall and trusting fully that all would be well, and just got to observe. It was kind of like being a student again in that way. I mean, I guess you can't fully go back there, but just in the Margo's got this. Whatever goes down, she'll be.
That's how I feel when I go to birth with you. It feels so nice.
Well, we should just do it more often. I was thinking maybe that's a message of this time together.
Oh, definitely.
It's
that's 100%.
Why do we do this alone?
Right.
Some days I do not know. It's challenging to do alone, even with the best of students and helpers, for sure.
No, it was so helpful. I mean, the birth ended up being just super easy and smooth and all the things, which I'm sure, I want to talk to the mom for sharing details or whatever from her story, but it was still so helpful to be able to look over at you and be okay, Maren's still cool. Okay. Okay, it's cool. And usually I have to do all of that internal work myself.
Right.
I have to be okay, here's the calm part of my brain being chill out, and the other one being but what about this? And I'm it's a lot of internal management. I don't know. So it was really nice, and just knowing okay, if something did come up, I'm not the only brain in the room. Yeah, just not feeling so alone.
Yeah, like I said, it was a midwife for the midwife is what it felt like to me.
Totally.
Because I wasn't invested in the birth in the same way. I mean, I care, but it's not my person.
Right.
So I was more invested in you and just holding that space.
It was great.
Rather than, kind of getting in that other part of the brain. So what a cool thing if you have that all the time.
Roles.
Yeah, like could switch off, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're in the like brain role. And other times you're really just there. You get to
just chilling,
hang out.
Just taking it all in. Yeah, let's see. Well, and I guess the other part too was then having Apprentice Maria there, which is so cool. She got to practice some things for the first time.
Yeah, that was fun to see her do those things and also be excited to do them and kind of take the initiative to do them, because I think that's a huge step.
Yeah. And I don't know if I haven't said this, but like I thought it was funny too in the moment to be like, I think I can remember the first time I did one and you like being like, oh, you want to do this one? You know, it was just funny like that you were there for it.
Right.
And being like, oh, this is so fun. Like I get to play teacher now.
Yeah.
And it totally made me think like, oh my gosh, we have to have this birth center someday. Retreat, whatever. Like that'd be just so great. We could just have hundreds of Marias. Your unique and beautiful snowflake Maria. That's not what I mean. But like you know, like we could do that every day.
Right. And it's so good for everybody. You just get in the flow. And like the moms and the dad, like the parents get in the flow too of like having someone that's learning, you know, doing whatever it is with permission. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
So it all works together. I think that, you know, families are really supported, which of course is the goal. And like these midwives are supported in figuring out how they want to do it. You know, that's the coolest thing about witnessing a student, I feel like, is just them taking it all in. And like somewhere in there,
stewing around.
Yeah, like spit out a version of this that
Barley
we've never
soup.
seen before.
Midwifery soup.
We made lots of soup, I feel like. Or not lots.
A couple soups.
That's amazing, Jill. Maybe, I don't know what that means other than you're really connected. Yeah, I don't know. I talk about it a lot here, our retreat center.
It's going to happen.
It feels like it's coming.
It does.
Slowly.
Round the birth canal.
Yes.
It's crowning, perhaps. Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of.
Yes. Oh, man. What about Ricky's question about grounding? Do you have anything to share? Or did you?
Oh, God, I don't know if I'm the person to talk about grounding myself right this moment.
You did awesome. I mean, you have a lot going on in this
horse
trip.
Videos.
Huh?
Ground myself with horse videos.
Oh, yeah. Well, laughter is perhaps a form of grounding, is it not?
It is.
I mean, yeah, it just reminds you that, like, there is humor in all things, even birth. And as serious and as, like, precious as every second is, it's also just like a person's having a baby.
Right.
Big deal.
Yeah. What was the exact question, though? Grounding techniques. Yeah, in your body at birth. I feel like at a birth, it's a lot easier than the waiting for a birth. But maybe that's just because we had a very long waiting.
It felt like it.
I felt like I was waiting for a month, which doesn't feel good. That I know. And that I knew that before this birth, but I've learned it again. That it's actually, I find it easier to be on call for multiple people at the same time, so that you just like don't know who is going to call you. And you're just like, I don't know, in some ways it's easier to just like live my life than being like, that person is going to call me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That makes sense.
I agree.
But being at a birth and staying grounded, I feel like, I don't know, what do I do? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've not found that to be like super hard.
That's great.
I mean, there's, like I said, there's the chatter, but just making a bubble, taking some breaths, you know, just the basics, really. But I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah, I don't think it's feels super complicated.
Feels hard to not be in the moment, but right in a grounded way.
Yeah, I always just remind myself to like slow down in a way, because sometimes there's that feeling of like, anxiousness or like rushing, and like really there are very few things you need to rush for, like in life in general and even at birth. So just like feeling like you're moving like through molasses almost, just like don't rush to do anything. Yeah, I don't know. But I think also just like, and we talked about this in our witchery class, like surrounding the space with like love. I'm sure you do that. Just like love and light, and, feeling the energy of the space and protecting the space as you are entitled to do in a sense as the midwife, just so the mom has that extra bubble. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I have anything to add.
I think that like also just comes with, like you were saying, just breathing and being present. And I feel like it's so much easier in a way when like you're not in your own environment, I find. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like it's hard to stay as present for me, like with my kids and like at home, and like things are moving so fast. And at a birth, it's just like I feel like I'm just there to watch a lot of things and like think about them, but also just like watch like the slowness of it all. Because it's so rare, right? That you get there and like the baby's coming out.
Right.
So it's like a very meticulous like placing of things, and like I don't know. That's how it feels.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and I think just I don't know if this goes back to like the apprenticeship thing, but like knowing normal and getting a chance to see a lot of normal births, I think helps you stay grounded too.
Yeah.
And then in moments that are more like doing and hands-on, I don't know that I would say I am grounded. I just like think those moments are more like laser focus. That's how that feels.
Yeah, I like what you said about knowing normal.
Yeah.
Because I think that has a feeling too. It's not like a brain thing. It's like when you're in it and it's feeling normal, which is almost always, and you also can relax into that. And like, it's kind of that, what's that phrase? I don't know. I can't think of it at the moment, but being in the moment is the best equivalent. You're kind of like just there. So when things don't feel that way, though, I feel like it's jarring.
Just good to notice too.
Yeah. Oh man, Zara, that's hard. Sending love to all of you in places where it's a lot worse than here. It's just crazy. Yeah, I've heard, that's not a new thing, of course, even here, like in Kentucky, the doulas aren't allowed in the hospitals either without it, is my understanding. So I think it's creating a whole new world, really. The doulas I know, and I only know a few, are just so cool and have taken it as a sign that that's not where their work is supposed to be. And, yes, women still need support in the hospital, all of that, but like we're also really having to choose where our own integrity is. Yeah. So I think it's what's needed. What do you think about this relationship with the partner in the birthing process? Jasmine's question.
That's a good question.
Or we could jump to honesties since we're
but now
in the flow.
We should say we can't ghost Jasmine's question.
I wasn't saying that. Just keep topics together.
I don't know. What do you think? Relationship, partner, birth.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yes, for sure. It doesn't always look like the way you might expect it to. I feel like I have a hard time predicting sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't pretend to completely understand it either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'd be nice if it could be like, well, those kind of relationships look like these kind of births.
An easy birth.
But it's, yeah, I feel like revealing when a woman is in that place. It's revealing of the relationship in ways that maybe those people don't even expect. Like what they need, what they ask for versus all the other emotions and a partner and fear. And I don't know. You can try your best, but I think there's still stuff that comes up. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of my own births. Yeah, I guess for me, like the less of a role Jason played, which if you're watching, you know, he won't take offense. Less of an active role was better for us and allowed me, I feel like, to really like just do what I had to do with not worrying about anything or how he was feeling necessarily or any of that. But all relationships seem so different.
Yeah, I do think it's a fascinating part of what we do. Like, yeah, I don't feel like I can quite predict how it will look for the birth moment. I really like sort of learning more about people's relationships, and it's like interesting. It reminds me of your one child who likes like to know everybody's business.
Mm-hmm. Nosy.
Those are
nosy person.
A nosy person. I sort of feel that way too sometimes. Like, tell me more. It's just so interesting.
Yeah.
To like peek into
totally
like those intimate parts of people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it's impossible to generalize while at the same time, I think the obvious, which is like difficult relationships can make birth difficult or even the postpartum difficult. Like I can think of one woman from, oh my gosh, so many years ago that there's no way anybody would ever know who I was talking about, but had a really abusive relationship. And this guy was, you know, physically harming her and all kinds of stuff. And she had one of the easiest births, like first time mom I've ever seen. And then her postpartum was kind of a nightmare. She bled too much. I mean, she really did hemorrhage. And anyway, so.
Oh, I even know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, maybe you do, or maybe there's more than that, but yeah, I don't know. But I think as the midwife, it's always humbling to realize what you don't know and what you will never know.
Right.
That's something that always like catches me still. Like you do your best to support both of them, both partner and the woman and them together. But there's just a part that, you know, you won't get to know because it's not yours to know. And my best advice with that, if anybody was asking, would be to not get in the middle of that. Don't get in the middle of that. So anyway, perhaps that answers your question, Jasmine. I don't know. I'm so tired. Like, blinking like crazy.
I can't imagine why.
I don't know. No idea.
I think this would be a great last question.
Yeah.
That's what you're hinting at.
Honesty, yes. I love your questions. I can't wait to see you soon. That's super exciting. What do you think?
Well, we were kind of talking about this at the park. I feel like we need to probably have more brain cells and do an actual episode sometime about this. But like the differences between even like an observer role, because like that's what you do first in an apprenticeship. And then in an apprenticeship you assist, and then you're the primary, right? Like, so like there are these different pieces. And then Marin said this interesting thing about how like, well, you're never not an observer. So it's more like, it's not like they're separate. It's like you're layering them on top of each other. Like these different roles and responsibilities just keep like, you're just adding to it. But that doesn't quite answer your question, which is about like the assistant versus an apprenticeship. So like to me, an assistant would be someone who's already been to enough births to know how to be a good assist. You know what I mean? Or has taken some
Ideally,
classes.
I'm not gonna necessarily have that anytime soon.
Right.
So, anyways.
But like that role, that would be my ideal. Like if someone is like, oh, I don't really want to be a midwife. I just want to be a midwife assistant. And it's like, how do I do that? I would be like, you still need to know at least like the basic version of all the topics and have a little bit of birth experience, you know, like have done the observing thing. Ideally, I would say. What do you think though? You look flabbergasted.
No, I mean, I agree.
Never seen a horse that big.
Oh my gosh, you have to all go watch this horse video. It's too bad we can't like play it here.
I wish we could.
Could be our motto.
It could be our outro music.
Oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious. It just makes me laugh.
I just have to pull up the photo
spontaneously. She doesn't live here, Abby.
I'm gonna pull up just the image of the man.
Oh man. Okay. I agree with everything Margo said. I guess I'm like taking it personally in the sense of, you know, I'm kind of alone in Kentucky-ish.
Having a pity party for yourself.
I feel very bad for myself because I don't have any help, but I do have wonderful people around, wonderful doulas around, and I'm looking forward to like working with some of them in whatever role you want to call this. So not as a doula, just approaching someone that works in birth, a doula, and saying like, hey, I don't have any help for these births. Would you help? And I think I'm going to have to figure out how to navigate that so that the person is actually helpful, but, you know, isn't a midwife. I can't expect that, and hasn't asked for an apprenticeship. So there's that. So I'm dealing with sort of like a strange hybrid version.
Like a helper.
A helper.
That's like a birth helper.
Okay. So it's a birth helper. But you want them to be helpful, and that's
like a helpful helper.
Not an unhelpful helper.
No, you don't want that.
So I don't know. I'm not being clear at all, and that's a very good question. But I think we said on the last podcast too, like if you start an apprenticeship, you're not usually that helpful in the beginning.
No, you're an unhelpful helper.
You're an unhelpful helper. And through the course of an apprenticeship, learning, taking on more responsibility, blah, 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 then you become able to assist. And by assist, we were saying this today in the car, it's not just like grabbing something out of the bag. It's knowing what thing to grab and when,
right,
without someone asking you.
Why you might be doing that, even if you're not like a fully trained midwife.
Right.
But you're headed that way. And like, you know, I think of like the chronic assistants, or like the people who like,
Debras.
Yes, the Debras of the world who like they have no intention of being a midwife on their own.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to assist midwives forever. I mean, it kind of sounds nice. That's kind of what we're talking about. Like, yeah, it'd be so nice to just switch off.
There. I'll be your assistant.
Do that. That sounds great. But those people who are good midwifery assistants, if they're at a birth alone, they probably could act in the role as a midwife. Like, if you're a really good assistant, you probably would be fine on your own, is how I think about it. And so the assist phase isn't like, as soon as you're in the assist phase, you're like the best assistant ever. Like, you're learning with each of those births, to me, you know? Like, you're adding on skills.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, Maria is in the assist phase. She, I guess, is doing some of the paperwork, but like not with me for the CPM stuff. But like, if we were following kind of that model, and it's essentially what we outlined in our like apprenticeship steps podcast, where like you just watch for a little while and then you're assisting. Like Maria did the newborn exam. That's something an assistant should be able to do. I mean, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean she can do all of the things an assistant might do yet. Like, she's adding on little pieces at each birth so that at the end of the assist phase, she can go on to being a primary.
Yep.
And then she can do all of the things. Doesn't mean she can do all the things well. And then during the primary time, she like gets better at doing all the things and juggling all of the things. Whereas in the assist part, it's like, maybe I'll have her do the newborn exam this time, but next time I'll do it.
Right.
And she'll do, you know, the placenta part, like helping with the placenta. And the time after that, maybe she'll do, another piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and start tying the pieces together.
Right.
And that's the part I feel like you couldn't know until you're in it, because at face value, it might be like, oh, there's a newborn exam. There's checking tears. There's like this list. But I think in a lot of cases, a trained monkey could do the list.
Right.
It's not about that. It's about, using all the stuff together somehow and then determining what is next or what's not next, or if something is normal or not normal. So I feel like that's kind of like as you're going up the information ladder or something.
Yeah, and as you said it that way too, and I think that we should totally do a podcast about this, but like, in the assist phase, maybe that would be a kind of a cool way to approach that. And I know you're not talking about that necessarily. You're talking about assistant versus apprentice. But in the assist phase of an apprenticeship, it's like, they're by the time they're done with it, they've done all the things. And then I think the primary part is where they start tying it all together. Like, okay, and then the decision making and the texts and the this and the that. But it's like they're kind of like assembling all the little pieces in the assist part so that they can be either a really good assistant or go on to like being the person who has an assistant.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it takes a long time. I mean, if you don't, maybe go to like, well, I would argue even if you do go to like a high volume birth center, you still
do a lot of hours.
Sure, but you may not get
condensed.
Yeah, but you might not get some of the other pieces just by virtue of the way that operates. So, again, not that anybody was asking about shortcuts, but I feel like, sometimes that's the energy around all of this too. It's just like, how can I do it faster? But there's also a reason why it is the pace it is. I don't know. Just that's how it happens.
Just how it happens.
All right. Any last thoughts or questions before we sign off for our duo Midwife Monday here?
I'll show everybody. You have to go watch it, but this is this guy with his cowboy hat. It's a really funny song about internet drama. 15,000-pound horse, I think is the name of it. If you go on YouTube.
Oh my God. Why do certain people think certain things are funny, and other people don't think those same things are funny?
Sense of humor.
It's such a weird thing.
Russell doesn't think anything's funny.
He thought that was funny, didn't he?
Yes, he did. But he didn't laugh hard.
I laughed hard. I'm still laughing.
Still laughing.
Still laughing.
Keep laughing, a good one. Everyone.
It's a good one. I'm going to watch it on my way home tomorrow on the airplane. Every time I feel stressed out, I'm going to watch that guy.
I was going to say, that reminded me, I don't know why that reminded me. At birth, I also like to play really like dumb, maybe not dumb games, but sometimes dumb games on my phone. That's a way that
I did not know that about you.
Yeah.
Like what?
Shopkins Run.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Was one for a while. Celosia likes it. It was on there. You just like are a candy and you like jump over things. That helps me stay like calm. And then I was doing a crossword puzzle on my phone yesterday. Yeah. I read a book, but I wasn't same idea
in your role. So don't call me a liar.
That's right.
Don't. Oh my goodness. Well, on that note, I think we're signing off here today for Midwife Monday in Minnesota,
Minnesota Midwife Monday with Marin and Margo.
Say that 10 times fast.
So many M's. And it was Marin, Margo, and Maria.
Oh my goodness.
And what was her name? Team Mar.
Yeah, that's really strange. Yeah, that's weird. How did that come to be?
And you and I both have unique MAR names too.
Yeah. That reminds me when I was an apprentice and it was Jaren and Marin.
That's pretty funny.
We would do a dance.
Would you?
Yeah.
Was that the dance?
It was kind of like that, yeah. Jaren and Marin. Oh my God. We need some coffee or some sleep. I don't know which. Oh, I have one more thing to do today.
Oh, man.
Sorry. All right, everybody. Lots of love to you. Thanks for joining us. I plan on seeing you next week back in Kentucky. And I hope you have a great week. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for hosting me for 17 days or something.
It's amazing. It's been great. Anytime.
Oh, man. We're not as funny as the horse video, but that's all I'll say.
Nothing is.
Nothing is. All right, everybody. Bye.